Welcome to WorldWire. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The Supreme Court is often at the center of America's most heated debates, serving as the final arbiter on issues that shape the nation's identity and future. Its decisions ripple through every level of society, influencing not just laws, but the daily lives of millions of Americans. And few issues are as contentious as the right to bear arms. The Second Amendment, enshrined in the Bill of Rights, has sparked passionate arguments for generations, with advocates on both sides fiercely defending their beliefs. Recently, the court issued a major ruling clarifying the boundaries of the Second Amendment, especially as the nation faces ongoing gun violence. This decision comes at a time when mass shootings and firearm-related crimes are at the forefront of public concern, making the court's interpretation more relevant than ever. The case forced the justices to weigh individual gun rights against the urgent need to protect victims of domestic violence. For many, this was not just a legal question, but a matter of life and death, highlighting the real-world impact of constitutional interpretation. The Second Amendment has long been a battleground, with fierce arguments over personal freedom versus public safety. Throughout history, Americans have debated where to draw the line between the right to self-defense and the need to prevent harm to others. The court's decision signals its ongoing influence in shaping how this right is applied today. Each ruling sets a precedent, guiding lower courts and lawmakers as they navigate the complex intersection of constitutional rights and public policy. The ruling highlights the tension between individual liberties and the collective good, a core challenge in American governance. It sparks conversations in communities, town halls, and legislatures across the country as citizens and officials grapple with the implications. As states continue to debate and litigate strict gun control measures, the Supreme Court's guidance will shape the future of gun laws nationwide. Lawmakers look to the court for clarity, while advocacy groups mobilize to influence the next chapter in this ongoing debate. This decision is more than a legal opinion. It's a statement about the values America prioritizes in a time of unprecedented challenges. As the nation continues to confront questions of safety, liberty, and justice, the Supreme Court's role remains as vital as ever. The case at the heart of this debate was United States versus Rahimi, a landmark legal battle that has captured national attention, involving Zaki Rahimi from Texas, a state known for its strong stance on gun rights. After a violent incident with his girlfriend, a court issued a protective order against Rahimi, suspending his gun rights. This order was meant to protect his girlfriend from further harm. He was later found with firearms and indicted under a federal law barring those under domestic violence restraining orders from possessing guns. This law aims to prevent further violence by restricting access to firearms. Rahimi's lawyers argued this law violated his Second Amendment rights, claiming it stripped him of his rights without a criminal conviction. They contended that the law was overly broad and punitive. The legal landscape shifted after the Supreme Court's Bruin decision, which required gun laws to align with historical tradition. This decision emphasized the importance of historical context in interpreting the Second Amendment. The Fifth Circuit Court sided with Rahimi, ruling the federal law unconstitutional due to lack of historical precedent. This ruling challenged the existing framework of gun control laws. This created a split among federal courts and threatened a law used for decades to prevent domestic violence. The inconsistency in court rulings added to the complexity of the issue. The Department of Justice appealed, arguing the Fifth Circuit's view was a dangerous misreading of both history and the Second Amendment. They stressed the importance of maintaining laws that protect victims of domestic violence. The Supreme Court was now tasked with resolving whether public safety could justify restricting gun rights in these circumstances. This case would test the balance between individual rights and public safety. The outcome would have national implications for how courts interpret the Second Amendment. A ruling in favor of Rahimi could potentially weaken gun control measures across the country. The stakes were high. The decision would affect not just Rahimi, but the future of gun regulation in America. Communities and lawmakers alike were watching closely. The case set the stage for a pivotal Supreme Court showdown over the reach of gun rights and government power. The decision would resonate far beyond the courtroom, influencing the national debate on gun control and individual freedoms. At the Supreme Court, both sides presented starkly different visions of the Second Amendment. The government argued that the right to bear arms has always had limits, especially for those deemed dangerous. They cited historical laws disarming threats to public safety, emphasizing the deadly link between guns and domestic abuse. Rahimi's team countered that only criminal convictions, not civil orders, should justify taking away gun rights, warning against government overreach. The justices had to decide: does history support disarming those under restraining orders, or does the law go too far? In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court upheld the federal law, reversing the Fifth Circuit. The court ruled that the government can prohibit those under domestic violence restraining orders from having guns, consistent with the Second Amendment. Chief Justice Roberts clarified that the Bruin test doesn't require a historical twin, just a relevantly similar principle. The court found that American tradition supports disarming those who pose credible threats. The ruling affirmed that public safety can justify limits on gun rights, especially for proven threats. Several justices wrote concurring opinions questioning the exclusive reliance on historical tests, but agreeing on the outcome. The decision set a clear precedent. The Second Amendment does not protect the right of dangerous individuals to possess firearms. The Supreme Court's decision sparked strong reactions nationwide. Gun safety advocates and domestic violence groups celebrated the ruling as a victory for public safety and vulnerable victims. They praised the court for preserving a crucial tool to prevent deadly violence. The Biden administration also welcomed the decision, calling it vital for protecting communities. Gun rights groups, while disappointed, noted the court preserved the Bruin framework and limited the ruling to those found dangerous by a court. Some hardline advocates warned the decision could erode gun rights, fearing it sets a precedent for broader restrictions. The debate over the Second Amendment remains as intense as ever, with both sides claiming partial victories. The Rahimi decision doesn't overturn past gun rights rulings, but it clarifies how courts should apply the Bruin test. The Supreme Court made clear that modern laws don't need exact historical twins, just relevantly similar principles. This gives judges more flexibility to uphold gun regulations aimed at public safety, like disarming felons or the mentally ill. The ruling will influence ongoing legal battles over gun laws in states like Oregon, where new measures are being challenged. Both sides must now argue their cases through the lens of Rahimi, focusing on historical analogs and public safety. The Bruin framework remains the law, but its application is now more practical and less rigid. The fight over gun control continues, but the rules of engagement have changed. The Supreme Court's decision in Rahimi is a landmark moment for the Second Amendment, marking a pivotal point in the ongoing debate over gun rights in America. This case has drawn national attention as it addresses the complex intersection of constitutional freedoms and the urgent need to protect public safety in a changing society. It reaffirms that the right to bear arms, while fundamental to American identity, is not absolute, especially when public safety is at stake. The court's decision highlights that individual rights must sometimes be balanced against the collective good, particularly when there is a demonstrated risk to others. The ruling provides clear guidance for lawmakers, clarifying that laws targeting proven threats can withstand constitutional scrutiny. Legislators now have a stronger framework for crafting policies that address real dangers, while still respecting constitutional protections. It encourages more nuanced debates about who should be restricted from owning guns and what due process is required. Communities and policymakers are prompted to consider not just the letter of the law, but also the broader implications for justice and fairness. The decision doesn't end the gun control debate, but it sets a critical boundary for future laws. It ensures that future discussions will be shaped by both constitutional principles and the realities of modern threats, keeping the conversation alive and evolving. The Constitution, the court reminds us, must be interpreted in light of modern challenges. As society changes, so too must our understanding of how to apply its principles to new and complex situations. Americans are left to grapple with how best to balance individual freedom and collective safety. This ongoing conversation will shape not only laws, but also the values and priorities of future generations. The Rahimi case will shape the future of gun policy for years to come, serving as a touchstone for courts, lawmakers, and citizens as they navigate the delicate balance between rights and responsibilities in modern America.